During the last years, the so-called stop motion became even more famous. So much that people fascinated by it started to upload onto the web their own homemade videos realized through this technique. But what exactly is stop motion? Well, stop motion is an animation technique to make a physically manipulated object appear to move on its own. The object is moved in small increments between individually photographed frames, creating the illusion of movement, when the series of frames is played as a continuous sequence. It appeared during the last years of the 19th century using the law of traditional cinema, which is the constant reproduction of single frames. During the years, new methods to improve the final result, such as software that show in real time the movement done, have been developed, but the technique itself never changed. It is a language through images, where often is crucial the meaning that an object represents. The psychological relation between object and its significance lead the audience into something more than a mere animation. For example, in a work of Czech animator Jan Svankmajer, a person who eats a shoe can represent a denunciation to the unfair rationalization of food affected by the Communist Party in his mother country. By itself, stop motion doesn't require specific technical skills. It is sufficient a camera and its basic knowledge. What make the final result interesting are the creativity, the patience, and the vision of movement of something that in reality could not exist. It is therefore based on the fantasy and innovation of animation. Today, there are different kinds of stop motion, which have been developed through the years, and which name recalls its own method of realization. One of the first pioneers of stop motion was Segundo de Chamon, who realized in 1908 The Electric Hotel. The Spanish animator used mainly a technique called pixelation, obtaining a stunning result for those years. Pixelation is a stop-motion technique where live actors are used as a frame-by-frame subject in an animated film by repeatedly posing while one or more frame is taken and changing pose slightly before the next frame or frames. The actor becomes a kind of living stop-motion puppet. It is noticeable how stop-motion has soon been used for surreal and horror genres since its unnatural movement. In 1933, it was used in one of the most famous and shocking films of that time, King Kong. Using the puppet animation, the big gorilla took movement, terrifying thousands of spectators. Puppet animation typically involves puppet figures interacting with each other in a constructed environment. The puppets generally have an armature inside of them to keep them still and steady, as well as constraining them to move at particular joints. One of the first examples of graphic stop motion was given by Stuart Blackton in 1906. In this case, the animator used a blackboard, drawing frame by frame the movements of the characters. Later, in 1926, the German animator Lotte Reiniger produced an entire film of 65 minutes called The Adventure of Prince Ahmed, with the so-called silhouette technique. Silhouette stop motion is set on a backlit worktop, usually colored, allowing to see the scene through the silhouette of the cutout images, even moved frame by frame. It was La Merle in 1958 that the animator Norman McLaren realized the first stop motion related to the soundtrack. Using the cutout technique, each musical note marks a movement of the dancer Blackbird. Cutout animation is a technique formed by moving two-dimensional cutout images laid on different levels. From the 60s, the Czech director Jan Svankmajer introduced a deep surreal print inside his animations. Works such as Dimensions of Dialogue even won world awards thanks to its incredible depth of hidden meanings. The most diffused technique in stop motion is the clay animation, where materials such as plasticine or clay are modeled and animated frame by frame. Usually, both the set and the characters are deformable, allowing a wide possibility of animation. In the last years, the stop-motion technique has found space in several fields, such as music, where in 1991 the rock band Queen produced their video clip Innuendo, which has been considered one of the best ever made. When in 1993, Tim Burton produced The Nightmare Before Christmas, using the clay animation, he gained an acclaimed success and even won an award for the best fantasy film. Moreover, since some years, it is widely used in advertisement. Nowadays, thanks to new media channels such as YouTube, fans of stop motion can create and show to the world their own animations. So, what are you waiting for? Take a camera and let's start your own one.